Hey y'all.
Hey everybody. Welcome to the Okay Then show. Chyna, we got some guests in the building.
Yes, but who are you?
Oh, you want me to tell them who I am?
Yeah, you gotta let people know who you are.
Okay, so I'm Titia Owens. I am the madre, in case y'all didn't know.
And I'm Chyna Elizabeth. I'm the daughter.
And we are sitting here with two of our family members.
Yes.
They have come all the way from DeSoto, Texas. Let's go with you, young lady. What's your name?
My name is Felicia Young.
And you are?
I'm Chanel Young.
And y'all are what to each other?
Mother and daughter.
Mother. So who's the mother? Well, we are so excited to have you all here today. And we wanted to have you all come on because there are some serious subjects that we want to deal with. You know, a lot of times it's funny, and then there are other times it's more serious. Well, this is going to be a little bit of both. So today we're going to talk about bonding health scares.
Yeah.
Bonding health scares. And so these two have faced just that. So we're going to get into it immediately. So we're going to dive right in with you first, Felicia. You being the madre and stuff. First of all, tell us who you are to us, because I did say y'all were my family members, our family members. So what does that mean exactly?
Tisha is my cousin through marriage.
I am.
But I've been married for so long, she's just my cousin.
Yeah.
And how long have you been married?
26 years.
Wow.
26
But we
years.
dated for 7 years prior to.
Wow. That's
30
amazing.
plus years
High school
together.
sweethearts.
I love
High school
that.
sweethearts.
Wow.
Yes. Shout out to my husband, Chris. Hey, love you, baby.
Hey, cousin Chris. Love you and style. Okay, so Chanel,
Yes.
how old are you?
23. I'll be forgetting how old I am. I'm 23.
23. So
Yes.
tell me about watching your mom and dad. How has that experience been, being the child of a couple that's been married for all that time?
It's been amazing, like seeing what real love looks like, and because I have a lot of friends that come from, I'm not saying broken homes, but like their parents are together or anything like that. So to be able to experience that and see, how a man's supposed to treat his wife, how a wife is supposed to serve her husband and her family, I think that just gives me a different perspective on love and what I'm looking for to look into and for a husband and everything. So
Great example. I love that.
We love that. So being that, what has been a favorite childhood memory that you've had, Chanel?
For like a specific parent, or
You just tell me, like, when you
period?
think about being raised in a home with loving parents, what is a fond memory that you have?
I always like Christmas, like a big thing for us. So waking up, my dad is real big on Christmas. So
Yes, he is.
y'all go in your rooms, y'all go to sleep. Don't come out here, you can't go in there yet. So I always think of Christmas, like those are really good memories for me. Just little stuff like when we go to your mom's house, my aunt Esther.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
We would take before we take Pleasant Run because it got all those hills. We would be in the truck. We'd be like 10 deep in there. It would be me, my brother Chyna, Chris, Jordan, a bunch of us, and we just be going up and down the hills. All the hills.
All the cousins.
And nobody seatbelt what we supposed to be.
Nobody seatbelt.
Driving crazy. It was so fun. Those are some good memories.
That is so funny.
My mother took me and my brother for the first time to like actually practice basketball.
Okay.
Her and my uncle, and then she claimed we got all the athletic talent from her.
So, do you know how to play basketball? I didn't know that.
That's new
In school.
No, we didn't know.
Basketball, volleyball. She might have fouled out every game, but that's all right.
I was in the books.
No.
I love that.
Yeah.
Those are great memories.
Those are beautiful memories, actually. And so when you think about your baby and her telling you about those memories, let's transition over to the time where she started noticing things about her that might be a concern?
Okay, so as she started developing, very beautifully, by the way, I would always tell her that it's time to go to the doctor and get things checked out. I'm real big on, preventive, and being proactive versus reactive. So she said, okay. So she was always an obedient child for the most part.
For the most part.
For sure. But she said okay, and I recommended a doctor that I go to, and she did a visit and kind of informed them what she felt, because I've always taught her to make sure she feel her breast and make sure everything is okay, and she informed the doctor what she felt, and they confirmed on what she felt was really something there.
Okay, so let's go to you, Chanel. So you tell us about that experience.
I didn't really, there was no pain or anything. It was just I guess one day getting out of shower, I was like, it feels a little weird. And I already
What were you doing? What were you doing?
I was just feeling my breast,
you were having a breast, you were doing your own breast exam.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think I already had my doctor's appointment was coming up anyways. And so I told, my doctor about it. And so she was already going to do it anyways, but I was just curious, what is this? I wasn't sure if I was just, it was just me, if I was just tripping.
Yeah.
She was like, no, okay, yeah. So I do feel something. So she sent me to get an ultrasound.
Okay.
Then I got the ultrasound, and then the doctor came back and was like, based on the size of it's a fibroadenoma, I believe it's called, that she does recommend surgery, just based on the size, and it was out of that parameter. So then we just kind of went from there.
Okay, so let's go back to you feeling it first of all. So you were feeling this knot.
It almost felt like a marble.
Okay, so it felt like a marble, and it was on your breast.
I couldn't see it.
Okay.
I just felt it.
Okay, so you felt that.
I kind of move it around a little bit too, so.
You could actually move it around some?
A little bit.
Okay, so what were your emotions though? I know you were questioning it, but did you have any sense of fear?
I did
Were you
not.
what is going on? How did you actually respond to it when you felt that?
I didn't really have a response. I'm very
calm,
chill, calm, good. I'm like, okay. So when she told me, or when I found out at the doctor, she was like, oh, you have to have surgery. You might have to have surgery. I was like, oh, okay. Her, on the other hand,
can we step back?
Who we talking about? Like your mama? We talking about her on the other hand, like your mama?
So can we step back just for a second? So before she did this ultrasound, she came home and she just informed me on what she felt and everything, and I was like,
dramatic.
Okay. And I just had to take a deep breath.
Lord,
and then I said, well, is it okay if I feel it? So she let me feel it, and I went,
oh gosh.
Okay. And so so I said, okay, so what's the next steps? And she said, we have to do a sonogram. I was like, okay, let me know when it is. I will be there. But first, let's just pray. So we just immediately went into prayer.
Okay.
Wasn't sure, if it was benign or not, or, what the case was going to be. But I walked into my room. Before after we prayed, I asked her, well, how do you feel? Are you, because she doesn't really express a lot of her emotions. She'll kind of hide it. So I just wanted her to express it. And she said, oh, I'm fine. And I'm going like, are you really? And she's like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm like, okay. So I go into my room and I'm like, okay, Lord, please tell me you do. And I'm like freaking out,
hysterical.
But at the same time, I know the Lord is able. I know He is a healer. I know what He can do. And I just needed for Him to give me that calmness and that peace that she had, because she automatically had it. And I felt very proud at that moment, because that's something that I would teach her and that we would discuss all the time, hypothetically. So now I'm seeing it come, actually execute, and she's actually seeing, I'm seeing, oh, she is strong. Oh, she can handle adversities in life, Oh, okay, I'm the one tripping. Get it together, Felicia, and let me go and tell my husband, because you think I'm bad. He's on a whole nother level. So we had to go there.
What was his response? What was Chris's response?
Freaking out, wanted to know, like, what does it mean? What is it? When it's gonna happen? Is he gonna have surgery? I mean, I can ask a lot of questions, but this man had 5 million. He had a way more, and he was really concerned about how she felt, and could he talk to her about it, because I talked to him without her, and because I wanted him to get all of that out first and not freak her out. And I said, well, let me go ask and see if she's okay with it. And she was like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And we had to do the same with my brother as well. And so all of that happened prior to her actually going and getting the sonogram. But I, had my additional prayer time with the Lord, and He told me to Google it. So I did. I called Chanel and said, give me some more symptoms, and I put in all the symptoms, and then I told her which one that I think it was, and it said
Dr. Young.
Yeah.
She really is, though.
I'm telling you, I'm always trying to diagnose somebody.
That's so funny.
So I found which one I thought it was, and I told her, and it said non-cancerous. So I was like, okay, not that we want to, to have this going on, but if we're going to pick one, this is the one we want. So let's go into prayer for that particular one. And so we did. And then it was time for us to go to her appointment.
Okay. So when you went to the appointment, when did they actually clarify for you what it actually was? What did they? I know you called it something.
Fibroadenoma. Right. So the doctor that ended up doing my surgery, that did the ultrasound. No, actually, I did an ultrasound across from my doctor that initially felt it.
Okay.
Then they sent me to my doctor that did my surgery.
A specialist.
A specialist.
Breast cancer specialist.
And she did an additional ultrasound to confirm, and then she ended up, giving me the name fibroadenoma, and then she was the one that said, okay, based on the size. So I think it took a little bit. She had to actually look at the images and everything and measure and stuff. And then I came back and she said she did recommend surgery. Then go ahead and get it removed. And then she was just
explaining the
process. They're going to test it. Might have to take a little bit around it just to make sure that it doesn't spread or not come back or anything, because she did say there was a possibility that it could come back based on the size and everything, and where she would go in and everything and stuff like that. So
once you heard all that, though, you still weren't feeling anything?
I still wasn't feeling anything.
Oh my God.
Nothing. Now, one of the things she did say, because I got a little I felt better after reading Google, but one of the things that the doctor said that made me a little nervous is she said, we think that's what it is. It's not until we take it out and have it tested. And once the tests come back, if it shows that it is benign, then we would have to go back in and grab some more from around it.
Benign means what?
Non-cancerous.
Non-cancerous.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yes.
So you realized you found out that it was benign.
after the surgery was over.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the surgery was over, they sent it off, and we had to wait on the results.
Okay.
to
How
come
was
back.
the surgery process? Was that like a lot of downtime? Was the surgery long?
I think I was off work for a couple weeks or whatever, and had to wear like this special bra thing. But it wasn't really that painful after surgery. Maybe like a week, maybe.
And you were
So-
just fine.
I was fine. Yeah,
Girl.
I got to sleep in mama bed.
I would have been like, Mama. Okay.
So
Now-
for you, Felicia, when your daughter is going through this whole process of surgery and all these terms you're learning about, benign and, you know, possibly or possibly not cancer, your thoughts were what, and how were you dealing with that process?
My thought was, well, if I can go back just for a second, when Chanel was first born, I cried a lot because she looked so perfect to me. I mean, this little girl she looked like a doll, and I kept thinking, okay, Lord, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, something is going to happen to her. And and that's part of that postpartum stuff or whatever. But, you know, at the time I was in denial. But anyway, so I prayed that, giving Chanel back to the Lord and just said, okay, God, I need for you to help me raise her, help me protect her, give me discernment spirit on, everything I need to know about her, and just that wisdom, and just help me tap into that spirit with you, Lord. So
Wow.
when this process was going on, it took me back to that point of going, no, she's not perfect. We all will go through some things, and I'm gonna have to lean into the Lord to help me through this, because this is a major scare, and I didn't want anything to happen to her. And I remember that crying, thinking something is going to happen to her, and I didn't know why or what, and I needed for the Lord to give me that peace that surpassed all understanding of really what's going on with this, this knot that she was feeling. So it just really put me in a different place with the Lord, in having to rely on strictly, it's up to you, it's on you, and whatever happens let it be your will, and give us the strength to deal with it.
That's so
And that's
good.
just kind of where I was.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's great.
So it sounds like, too, when you were going through this process, you were praying, but at the same time, what was happening with you and Chanel? What was the dynamic of you all's relationship at this point?
Well, Chanel and I had always had a really good relationship. We've always been friends. And I know a lot of people say, you shouldn't be friends with your daughter or as a mother or whatever. But the Lord told me to do that years ago when I gave her back to him. And so our relationship has always been really, really close. But during this time, it was me really learning her strength and what she was capable of, and how everything that I've taught her was really coming forth, and me trying to get me seeing her actually encourage me, because it's always been the other way around.
Yeah.
And so now it was flipped. Mom, I'll be fine, I'll be okay.
Just chill,
just chill. Everything you've prayed for, God got it in control. Me listening to the scriptures and how she was, believing and having faith in the Lord. And I'm just like, okay, because sometimes even as Christians, we have to be reminded ourselves when we're going through it. And she was that for me, and it was supposed to be the other way around, right? I'm supposed to be like calming her down. And that's when I really started seeing a different side of Chanel, and our friendship really turned on, she can give back to me that same friendship that I've been trying to, extend to her.
Yeah.
It's extending back to me. And that was very important. And we would do stuff together, like, okay, now let's go get a spa. Like, I kind of just felt like at that time, let's do anything that we've always talked about doing that we hadn't done. Come sleep in the bed with me, girl. Let's watch, Netflix all night, And so it just kind of turned in more into that because I didn't know, what the outcome was going to be, but I did know it was going to be okay, And so I just wanted to spend as much time with her as I could.
Chyna,
I love that.
do you feel like that? Do you feel like you want to spend all that time with me?
No. I feel like we spend a lot of time together already.
Okay.
We've grown into the friend thing, but I'll be ready to go after that. I like my space. Y'all know that. We don't.
I just thought I'd ask.
No, I love that for y'all though. That's so beautiful. So beautiful. Over here though. Alright, I got my limit. You know what I'm saying? They be like, okay, let me go over here.
So back to Chanel.
Right. Anyways, pretty much.
So now, Chanel, you hear your mom, and she's talking about how she's feeling like the roles have somewhat reversed. How did you feel about the process? So after you'd gone through the surgery and you start realizing that, or did you have a feeling that after you went through that process, time was valuable and that you wanted to have more time with your mom? Did you have that thought at all?
Almost definitely. She was very supportive. Her and my dad and my brother, helping me through the whole process. At the same time, I'm helping them. I'm like, okay, y'all, let's woosah. But yeah, it was very. I'm always. What's the word? I have always valued time. So I guess it didn't really put it into a whole new perspective for me, but it did kind of raise the stakes. Like, oh wow, okay, this was a close call kind of thing. So yeah,
just valuing it more.
And we've had other close calls.
Yeah,
that wasn't the only one.
Now, other close calls with Chanel.
Yes.
Okay, so what was another one?
Oh.
Y'all want to talk? Come on, get on into it.
Okay, you can start.
Yeah, go ahead, tell them.
Are you talking about the most recent thing?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Okay.
Yes.
Come on.
Okay. So, I think it was on a Monday, and we had Chipotle.
Oh Lord.
We had Chipotle. Shout out to Chipotle.
I don't know.
Is it a shout out?
Shout out to Chipotle.
We're getting there. And so, went to sleep, and I woke up out of my sleep. It was like 3 a.m. And I think I have a kind of a high pain tolerance. But if something woke me up out of my sleep because I'm in pain, then I'm really in pain.
Yeah.
And almost to the point I was crying. Like, it also takes me a lot to cry because of pain. So I texted, we have a family group chat, is anybody else stomach hurting? And we're like, no. So then my dad came up and checked on me, and I was like, I couldn't lay down. Like, it hurt to lay down. So I was like trying to stand up, standing up, like put the pillow on the wall. Like, I was so tired.
Wow.
And I think he tried to bring me like some medicine or something, but nothing was helping. I ended up having to call in sick for work because I literally was like in so much pain.
Wow.
And the next morning you was...
I couldn't use the restroom or pass gas or anything, and then all of a sudden I just started throwing up. Throwing up. I think I counted. I threw up like over 15 times in one day.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. And so my mom, here she go with Google. So eventually the vomit started changing colors, like as the more I was throwing up or everything. She was like, okay, let me go to Google. Dr. Young. And so she was like, what you're describing to me, because it was like very yellow. She was like, it looks like biles. Like she was like, that's not right. And so I'm thinking I have food poisoning or whatever. But no one else is having. We all had the same thing.
But
no one else. I'm the only one having the reaction.
Right.
And she was. And then the next day came, and I was still feeling bad. She was like, usually food poisoning is only a day,
24
and
hours
then you're okay. Well, I was still feeling really bad. I had to call in sick again. Like I was feeling so bad. And she was like, oh my gosh, I think it's one of your organs. And I'm like, I'm feeling bad, but I'm still not freaking out. I'm like, okay. She was like, I think she said it was my gallbladder. She was like, and then she was like, it could be your pancreas, it could be your
appendix.
Your appendix, and all this. She just started naming off these different organs.
Everything.
And so we went into prayer. Remember? Because we went into prayer, and I said, Lord, tell me which one it was. And then when we got through praying, he said it was the gallbladder. And I said, oh, let's go.
Let's go?
To the emergency room.
She did keep asking me, do you want to go to the emergency room? Do you want to go to the emergency room? I'm like, no, I really, because I kind of felt like I was getting better. And then Thursday came, and I had to go into the office that day. And I also had a doctor's appointment already, like my annual appointment. So I was taking half a day. And so I got to work, and it was like, this was back in November, so it was cold. So then I was like, oh, the cold is not helping. Like, I'm really like cramped up over here. It felt like a big ball of like gas, like cramped in my, like, just right up in here. And it was like hurt to move or whatever. So I went to my doctor, and my mom did tell me to ask my doctor, hey, can you do like a sonogram or ultrasound, see if you see anything. Well, my doctor was like, we don't do that here, but I can send you across the hall to the same people that, examine my breast. They didn't have any availability that day. She was like, but if you're feeling that bad, then I recommend you go to the emergency room.
Okay.
So,
That's
and
all I need to hear.
Another thing, when I did my annual, she felt something in my other breast. So I was like, okay. I didn't feel anything, but she said she felt something, so I had to get the sonogram for this and for my breast. So I scheduled those, but then I came home, and I was like, she said she recommends I go to the emergency room. So I was like, okay, let's go.
So you go to the emergency room, and then what happens?
Just Chanel and I go.
Just us two, yeah.
So again, here we go again. I'm trying to stay calm.
Okay.
But I'm like, it's going to be okay, because I had been Googling. And the Lord had been speaking to me and saying it was going to be okay.
And how did that happen? How did the Lord speak to you? What happened?
We have such a special bond. He just literally, the Holy Spirit just tells me things. And I say it all the time to Chanel and my family, and they always, they understand, but I don't tell a lot of people because some people don't understand, and they don't understand, they'll say, oh, you just speaking stuff into existence, or sometimes it's not always good, or what have you. So but anytime I tell Chanel, she gets it, because she said the same things happen to her a lot, where the Lord speaks to her a lot. So so I told her on the way that the Lord said it's your gallbladder. So when we walked in the door,
no wait time, by the way.
No wait time.
Wow.
And so we walked in, and and he and I told him what I thought it was, and he said, okay, we'll test it and we'll look at it and everything. So I'm in the room, and I'm texting people, and we're praying. I'm praying. Chanel is like, the TV on.
Oh God!
Oh, my favorite show on.
Elementary came on.
Oh, hi. And I'm like,
gosh, she's not worried about anything.
I needed to catch up, because I was seeing all the stuff on Twitter.
Yeah. So she's all into the TV. We haven't eaten, by the way. So the guy's like, do y'all want something to eat?
That was another thing. I hadn't eaten in 4 days, since I had Chipotle. I hadn't really eaten food because I couldn't keep anything down.
Yeah.
And everything was, I didn't have an appetite, which is not normal for me. But
right. So so the guy comes back, and he says, She has, I see some issues with her gallbladder. You were correct. I said, did you check the other organs? And he said, yes, the other organs look fine. It's the gallbladder, but we need a specialist to come in. And I was like, a specialist? Oh Lord, here we go again with these specialists. And he said, but it may take a couple of hours. Do you want to wait? And I was like, yes, of course. So she's like, okay, cool. I'm hungry. Can you give me something? And I'm like, Chanel.
This is the first time I was actually hungry.
And so the guy brought us some food.
And some
But it was like some Doritos and some cookies or something. Not real food, but some snacks. So the specialist actually got there in 45 minutes. So we was pretty happy about that. And so the specialists come in and she does the sonogram, and Chanel's steady looking at TV and laughing and everything, and I'm asking the specialist, do you see any gallstones? And she said, oh, I see a lot. And I said, okay, well, what does that mean? I hadn't looked past that on Google, so I'm trying to hurry up and go to Google. Okay, so if you see it, I said, you just give her some medicine. She said, I can't tell you anything. The doctor has to tell you. I will give him the results.
Why?
The doctor come, I don't know.
Because she's not the doctor.
The actual doctor.
She's just
She
like,
just have
Girl,
to
tell me
give the
information
results
right
now. Okay.
Okay.
So
Tell
the
my
doctor
adrenaline
come
going.
in with this whole different look on his face, and he said she need surgery immediately, like right now.
Wow.
And if you had not have brought her in within 24 hours, she would not be with us.
Wow.
And I said, I mean, y'all just don't know everything that came over me. I was, and right there, I just had to thank God, because God literally kept saying, take her. And I kept asking Chanel, and I just finally said, I'm not going to ask her no more. Get up. Let's go. And the Lord directed us on where to go, who would get us in that fast. He explained how it could have gotten in her bloodstream and an infection, and she was running a fever.
It was he used the word not inflamed, but it was not enlarged. It was basically like it was kind of enlarged,
Swollen
whatever.
up more.
Yeah, so it was inflamed, and then, like she said, I did have like a slight fever, so that shows signs of infection, like it could be becoming infected and stuff like that.
And and if it gets into her bloodstream with an infection, she would have like 24, 48 hours, before she could pass away. And so
when you heard that,
girl, again, Chanel had to calm me down. She's like, it'll be okay, Mom. And I'm like, I gotta call my husband. I have to call my family. I have to let everybody know. Everybody need to go into prayer, because she has to have surgery. At this time, it's like 10 or 11 o'clock. And he's like, we need to find someone who can do the surgery tonight. And I'm like, tonight? Like now? Like, we don't have time to think about it later or figure out who the surgeon gonna be, and he said no. Immediately now.
Wow. Chyna, when you hear that, thinking about your cousin going through that process, how does that make you feel?
It's just crazy. I mean, first of all, I don't know how you were so calm in that situation. I would be going crazy like Felicia. I would be like, what? Jesus, of course, having faith and trusting God and depending on Him, but we human, so we still have our worries and our fear. And I would have been very fearful on trying to figure out, okay, what's gonna happen. But I'm glad you got through that, because that's a lot to go through, and to have that faith and not caring,
just peace about it.
Just a
peace about it is what's so
amazing.
Encouraging.
Yeah,
yes, very much so. And
I love that.
It was really crazy, because it was flu season. Okay, and I mean, you can go.
So, like she said, she's oh my gosh, I'm worried about my hair appointment that I had scheduled the next day. I'm like, I got a hair appointment scheduled the next day.
That's a 23-year-old.
Not about to play with her.
Hashtag 23.
She did.
So I'm like, dang, I gotta cancel my hair appointment. I don't want to lose my money. Anyways, but Then I found out that it could be hereditary. So let me start calling around. Not putting anybody business out there, but it's a lot of relatives. A lot of relatives,
especially on her dad's side.
Oh wow.
And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, all right. Yeah. And so I end up giving my hair appointment to my Auntie Carla. Shout out to my Auntie Carla.
Oh, that is so
she was like,
we still talking about this hair appointment.
I'm still worried about the hair appointment.
She worried about the hair appointment.
I'm worried about my show.
I'm worried about who's going to do the surgery because, of course, it's not the urgent care.
Yeah.
And the people came back and said, Charlton Methodist has a bed. And we like, oh, no. We're not going to Charlton. Nope, we're not doing that. My mother passed there, and we're just going through all the people that we know that passed there. And we're like, Jesus, we're not doing that. So they started calling around and no beds available, guys. We called all the way to Frisco, to Plano, all the way to Waco, to Waxahachie. We went east, west, north, south, 2 hours. I bet between my husband and the man, they probably called over 20, close to 30 hospitals.
Wow.
No one could get her in.
Because of flu season.
Because of flu season.
They didn't have any beds. They didn't have availability.
You know, it's still COVID
and we
too.
needed within that 24 hours. He was like, we got to get you in within 24 hours. So I come back in the room and say, Chanel, let me tell you the deal. We can wait until the morning and call around and see if any beds become available, or we can go ahead and go to Charlton. And she was like, I'll just go to Charlton. Girl. we wasted an hour and a half. And you were just like, well, if that's where it has to be, then that's just where it has to be.
Yeah, that was my thing. Like,
and I was just like, okay, well, evidently that's our confirmation from the Lord that this is where we needed to go, and we just need to trust the process, trust Him. And they didn't even have the Care Flight ambulance
to take you over there.
So it was this whole big deal where we had to sign paperwork that they was releasing her, but we had to promise to take her immediately over there because they did not want her to go home and something happened and it would be on their watch. Because normally the ambulance will come and pick her up and take her. And so we did, and my husband did, by the end he was up there, of course, and they took her immediately up there, and Charlton was like the best.
Charlton was the best. How long was she in the hospital?
So, because I had eaten the Doritos, 2 Doritos and some water, I couldn't immediately have the surgery. So they had to wait.
Oh, wow.
They had to wait till that morning. I think I was like 8 or 9 in the morning. I had my surgery. Don't know how long. They did have to put me under, so they had to put the tube down my throat. When I woke up, I felt worse than when I got in there.
Jesus.
And I was like, I couldn't really talk because, they just had to take the tube out my throat. Very sore. Couldn't cough. Couldn't laugh. Couldn't lift up my body because I was having to use my ab muscles. I couldn't use any of my ab muscles. Still couldn't. And then they had to pump me with gas so they can separate, because I think your gallbladder's kind of what is next to my liver or something.
Okay.
So they kind of had to like separate my organs by pumping me up with a bunch of gas. So there's like a bunch of just gas in my body.
And hers was really big. The lady used the term, you had an angry gallbladder. This was a really bad case, is what she said. So they had to be extra careful in the way they cut it out to keep from puncturing like your
other
lungs
organs and
other organs.
So I think I woke up crying, like
she did.
Like I said, I have to be in a lot of pain to cry.
So you were in a lot of pain.
I was in a lot of pain. Like I said, worse than when I got in there. I'm like, okay, well, what we doing? Like, so I did have an appetite a little bit, but I was still on like a lot of medication, so I was very sleepy, very lethargic, drowsy. So didn't really eat when I woke up, but I ended up being in there. I don't even remember.
3 days actually.
3 days.
2.5.
Okay.
I would say, and but they originally thought she was going to go home the next day, or like shortly after the surgery. But you have to have a bowel movement.
Okay, before.
So we thought. They came back and told us you no longer have to have a bowel movement. Like, so one nurse told us you did, and the doctor came in and said you do not.
Okay.
And then and so then we was like, oh no, we're going by old school. She's not leaving until she have a bowel
very
movement.
Adamant on making sure you know we're not leaving until my baby good.
Yes. So, and of course I spent the night with her on the couch and stuff in the room.
It was a spacious room.
Yeah, it was a nice room. So
That's so nice.
And we had like a little slumber party in the room and everything whenever she would be up.
So I'm curious, is that something that happens over time, or like is that something that could just happen abruptly?
So the doctor at the urgent care was saying like some people can, you know, have flare-ups and they can go years and years without ever having it to get it removed. And then some people, they have flare-up, and like in my case where they need it gone immediately, and then so I guess that was just my case, my situation.
Got you. Okay.
Wow.
Just curious.
Just come find out, I also have gallstones.
Gotcha.
And I just recently found that out maybe like a couple of months ago. But I have flare-ups. I just didn't know that's what it was.
Got you.
And but you know, they're not saying I need surgery or anything.
Yeah.
But in her case,
It was just
it
angry.
was like, it was angry.
It was angry. That's what the surgeon said.
It was angry.
Okay.
We got to do it right now.
Wow.
That is
amazing.
absolutely amazing. So let's transition from surgery. You've now gone through this whole experience. You're back home. Now let's get to the relationship process of you are already friends. These particular instances have brought you guys even closer, so to speak. So tell me where we are even at this point, or what has happened from that point on till now.
I think it's just, well, okay, take it back a little bit.
Okay.
Go back. So I would always have life lessons with my children.
Okay.
Like daily or almost every other day.
What is a life lesson? Tell me what that means.
Just different topics in
Okay.
life. How to deal with broken relationships, how to
Okay.
deal with sex, how to deal with peer pressure, social media, security, corporate America, get ready for college, high school. I mean, it's always a life lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that I do with my children. Some days they want to hear it. Other days they be like, Mama, do we have to?
We just listen to the radio. Way to school.
Can we just listen to the radio? Do we have to have another life lesson? But I felt like all of those life lessons was to prepare them, because I've always said to them, I'm not going to always be here.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to rely on God, which I've brought them up in the church, and even in school they've always gone to Christian schools, and we always in our word, and all the way up to they're grown we go to some type of Bible study and read the word and everything. So I just wanted them to have a little bit more meat on how to handle things in this world. And so it was time for some more life lessons, like even at this age, you don't get too old to have those conversations.
Very true.
And so at this point, it was more of, let's talk about recognizing your body, and, that your body is a living sacrifice, and you should treat it, with as care, and don't be afraid to go to the doctor. Don't be afraid to get checkups. Don't be afraid to find out what's going on and be proactive. Because she could have just continued to just say, Mom, I'm fine. I'm not going to go. And I really didn't have, she's grown. So made those choices, but it was more of listen to your body and listen to God and the discernment spirit on what,
should be happening.
what
need
to
to
do,
do. Yeah.
and what's the next step.
I think I wasn't so pushy on going to the emergency room because I knew I had a doctor's appointment coming up. I just kind of wanted to hear what the doctor had to say as well. And so then
You were still willing to go through that pain though, until your doctor's appointment.
Yes, several days.
Yeah, that's the problem. And that's the thing about us. We'll get our brakes fixed faster on our car than we'll go get ourselves checked out. Anyway, so then,
Well,
after those life lessons, with you hearing those life lessons, how has that affected you all's relationship?
just knowing like she's been there, always going to be there, still here. So it just kind of brought us, closer. I call her mama girl all the time. That's my girl.
Mama girl.
Mama girl.
That's my name.
And then my dad be trying to say it. I'm like, no, you cannot call her that. I'm the only one that can call her that.
that is so funny.
Just kind of, because I'm very like joking person, so kind of
Can't
try
be
to keep
serious.
Can't be serious. Can't be serious. And so just kind of keep the spirits up, and like I said, she was always been there for me. Are you okay? Okay, okay, now this, okay, now that. I think that's where I get me asking a lot of questions from, because I will ask you 50 11 questions.
That's good.
I
I like 50-11.
50 11 questions. I would ask a lot of questions. I think it definitely comes from her. So yeah, I think it just brought us even more closer than where we already were.
Again, we spending the night in the bed together.
Right.
We watching movies together. What you want to eat, what you want to do, and that kind of stuff. We even plan trips and stuff together. So was this before your 23rd?
This was after.
So we already had gone.
Yes.
Yeah. So we do stuff, girl stuff together all the time.
What's girl stuff?
Well, I mean, we go on trips. We love to travel. But I will bring this up though.
Okay.
So long time ago, we're talking about Vegas.
Oh, we're talking about Vegas.
Okay, what you thought?
No, I didn't know what you
Okay, so
doing.
long time ago. We're talking about Vegas. So long time ago, we said when Chanel turns 21, we would take her to Vegas. I've always been this type of parent. My husband and I, we rather teach it to you and you get it from us than from the outside world.
Okay.
Even things that and of course we're going to teach them all the good stuff or whatever, but even stuff that's questionable, right? Like drinking. I'd rather for me to let you taste it and you taste it with me first than for you to go somewhere else and someone slips something in your drink or you don't know how to react to it or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to educate you on how to be responsible on things. And so we said the same thing. Okay, so when you turn 21, when I say we parents, are going to take you to Vegas.
Okay.
And show you Vegas, how it could be a good thing. It doesn't have to be bad. And there's shows and there's different other things to do other than get drunk and be at the strip club and all this other kind of stuff. You can still have fun. And so when she turned 21,
it was COVID.
So we couldn't go. So my son turned 21 and we came up with this idea we would take both of them. So he's 21 and she's now 23, and their birthdays is like a month apart, in August and September. So we're going to take you all to Vegas with your friends. So everybody was like, you're gonna take them to Vegas with their friends? Like,
and I'm like, let's go.
And I'm like, yeah, because we cool like that.
That's awesome.
We're friends like that. Everybody can't say that about their parents, but I feel like she would tell us if that was the case.
Right.
And so we went, and it was like 10 of us, and we had the best time.
I will will say Chris and Felicia are the fun parents.
Yes, they're the traveling parents too.
With rules.
For sure.
With rules.
For
Follow
sure.
the rules
Boundaries.
and we good.
But we're going to have a good time.
Right.
It's going to be games. We're going to be laughing. Just doing the absolute most of fun.
Chyna, did I teach you how to drink? Did I do that with you?
Absolutely not. My
Teach me
dad.
how to drink.
My dad did let me taste beer though when I was young, and I said, "Oh yeah, I would never in my life
That's exactly
drink
what
that
we
again."
did.
I still have not. To this day, I will never drink beer.
Yeah, beer.
Now the other stuff I did dip a little bit. I don't drink anymore, but still. Yeah.
Yes.
No, she didn't. Can I tell him about?
Go ahead.
Okay, we went to what was that? Haywire.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it was our first time getting a drink together. She does not know how to act. I understand why she does not drink. I said, yeah, we're not doing this ever again. First of all, I didn't think I drank. So my thing is, I didn't think it was that strong. It wasn't that strong at all. We got the same drink. We drinking the same. She's like, yeah, no, mine is a little stronger than yours. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So I have a higher tolerance. This was her first drink in a little minute. A good minute.
That's hilarious.
So she already crazy. So it was times 20. Sorry, microphone. Times 100 actually. And I was like, yeah, never again. I'm good.
I don't understand what you're talking about, but anyway.
I know exactly. I think she knows. That's why she don't drink, guys.
I do not know how to act, and I do have a very low tolerance level. I have had a drink on several occasions. That's not something I do on a regular basis. But one of the things my husband is always saying, you will not drink without me because you do not know how to act.
You don't. I can attest.
And I kind of think that's where, and I'm just using drinking as an example.
Of course.
Not really teaching them, but just
No, we understand
just
that.
going through the life lessons.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to be out here wilding out and doing this and doing that. And
I think that's wise that you allowed that with them.
Your
She's very big
tolerance.
on learning from other people's mistakes. So she would tell us stories about how this happened to them, or this person that happened to them. So
Smart.
she was we were aware of the consequences of our actions by different things she would tell us and teach us.
That's good.
Her and my dad. So, even from their own experiences and everything. So just things like that.
Yay.
So
That's great.
And I will also teach them to tap into their discernment spirit on, do you need to do this? Why are you doing it? What are your consequences are going to be? And, what are the outcomes? Think of all the questions and come up with the details before making that decision. And a lot of times I didn't have to tell them no.
Yeah.
I wasn't that parent to say, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. It was because I would make them go through the process that they would go, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do that. They would think it through themselves.
That's good.
That's
And
so
I just basically
good.
make them feel like they made that decision when I'm over here going like, yes.
I'm gonna adopt that. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
what we doing? Like just different things like that. Like
Right.
knowing the questions that she would ask us, let me ask
Exactly.
them myself
Yeah.
first.
That's
Before I
beautiful.
even put that in front of her.
Before I even approach you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
'Cause
that's
she already
good.
know. They know my rules because the rules come out with every life lesson. So they know them, they memorize them. And so I really didn't have problems out of them because they followed the rule and they understood the consequences and they made really good choices based up on listening to the Lord and their discernment spirit.
That is so beautiful. Well, this is the thing. We have enjoyed you all today. You have educated us about, just connecting. And again, you all were already close before the health scare, but I'll say the health scare just enlightened the relationship or magnified it. So I think that's a beautiful thing. And for the audience to be able to hear the process and the journey, there were a couple of things that happened. Now, we didn't touch on necessarily the second lump that you talked about, but you can kind of wrap it up by telling us real quick what happened with that before we close out.
I got the ultrasound and it ended up not being anything. So
hallelujah.
Yay. Yes, that's a beautiful thing. And so what we would like for you all to do as you're watching, please make sure you share with us too, because before we end, we like to tell everybody what we're okay with. So we're going to do that real quick. And Chyna, I'm going to let you go first. Tell what you're okay with today.
I am okay with the relationship that we have, the space that we give each other. Y'all have a beautiful relationship. Love that. But I do I like my alone time. I am an introvert, so I need that space to recharge. You know what I'm saying? And everybody,
We're clear.
including my
Hashtag
mom.
everybody.
So that's what I'm okay with.
Okay.
Love you much.
Yeah, love you too. Well, what I am okay with is going to the doctor. I'm okay with getting checkups and making sure that we are examining ourselves and checking for those particular things that feel different and going ahead and finding out what's going on with you. And I'm also okay with not waiting to go to the emergency room when you're in pain.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
What are you okay with, Felicia?
I'm okay with, I guess, adversity coming and just testing your faith, because the Lord does say that in His Word, and I think sometimes we need that extra, reminding and push to just lean on Him a little bit harder and have faith and trust in Him.
That's good.
And so through her health scares, that definitely did that for me.
Amen.
That's great.
Chanel, what are you okay with?
I'm okay with being still and just listening to the Lord. Because I know sometimes you would say she feels like I could be doing more. I'm like, well, God didn't tell me to do that yet. So I'll listen, but also just like she said, our discernment spirits, I think, is on a different level than a lot of people. So we understand each other a lot through that. So just being still, listening, but still preparing. So when He says time to go, then I can go.
Yes, ma'am.
That's beautiful, Chanel.
that.
Okay, for the 23-year-old in the building. Okay, then.
Period.
Well, Chyna, we would like for everybody to watch us each Wednesday, right?
Yes, each Wednesday at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Okay, make sure y'all subscribing and tuning in, commenting, liking, sharing, doing all that. Okay?
I don't know if y'all understood her, but she was saying the like. She was saying the like, share, comment.
How you gonna do the same thing and then be like that and be like that hear you? Because they heard me the first time.
They heard you, so I want to make sure I say it one more time.
They heard me. Y'all know what to do.
Okay, so like, share, subscribe, comment, all that. Follow, and follow again.
Yeah, follow us on TikTok and Instagram.
Tell your
at the Okay Show.
Yeah, your cousin, your auntie, your sister, your friends.
All that.
Watch us on the YouTube. Well, we are about to end, so we end with our 2 phrases. If y'all want to read that board right there.
Yeah, say that.
Okay then, bye then.
Hold on, we say it together.
Thanks for having us. I do want to say thanks for having us.
You
we really appreciate it.
I'm glad y'all was here.
Yes. I'm glad y'all was able to
Are y'all ready?
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go. Okay then. Bye then.